Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Devlin Norris. I'm the Canadian Distribution Account Executive for Intel based here in Toronto. And with me today is,
Hi, everybody. I'm Alli Heeter. I am Senior Product Manager for ThinkPad for North America. Happy to be here today.
and topics of discussion. We're just going to take a look at where the market is, where Lenovo is investing, where Intel is investing, where we see the markets heading for the next 6 to 9 months, and talk a little bit about the realities of how you as channel partners can make more money selling Lenovo with Intel technology. So, Ali, why don't you give me just sort of where you see Lenovo today, what your hottest products are, why the channel is as focused as it is on AI, where the opportunities lie.
Sure. Yeah, sounds great. Thanks for having me. I've actually just been working on some things around, Copilot plus PCs and what that looks like in the North America market right now. And I just pulled this quote from Sam Altman from OpenAI that says, "quote You're not going to lose your job to an AI, but you're going to lose your job to someone who uses AI." And I think that's kind of an interesting perspective. There's a lot of concern, I think, or hesitation around what AI actually means as it pertains to, the jobs that we know as they exist today. And as we look at it for the North America market from a ThinkPad or Lenovo perspective, we know that right now in June of 2025, customers are curious. They're coming to us asking our opinions more now than really in the past of like, well, what are other people in my industry doing? I do think there's some FOMO, that fear of missing out or falling behind, but also understanding that given, the world that we live in today, not everyone just has wide open budgets to invest in this technology up front. So seeing a lot of small kind of pilot groups or beta groups within these larger organizations testing out this new technology. Is it really what Intel and Lenovo are saying it's going to do from a performance and efficiency standpoint? How is that going to translate from a security perspective in my environment? I think right now we're very much just at the precipice of really the dawn of this AI PC transformation.
So, and there's a lot of confusion. I mean,
Yeah,
and the
there is.
industry at times is its own worst enemy because, I mean, it looks like every company and its uncle is jumping on the AI bandwagon. I
Yes.
saw an ad from Oral-B, the toothbrush guy, saying that they had an AI toothbrush. No, wait, it gets better. It gets better. I saw a golf club manufacturer, I won't mention who, that said that their driver was an AI driver. My golf game sucks. I can't tell you how excited I am to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
an
yeah.
AI driver that'll help me with my slice.
Yeah,
Like,
look at my
come
handicap
on.
now. Yeah.
That stuff doesn't help. That really does not help provide clarity in this marketplace. And I know why they're doing it. It's the
Mm.
hottest thing and everybody wants to be aligned to artificial intelligence, but um, having a clear, concise definition that you as resellers can go out and share with your customers and help them understand so that they make that investment in technology that not only meets the workloads that they're doing today, but meets the workloads that they'll be doing in the near future that
Absolutely.
AI is going to drive.
Yeah, I think you make a good point there, and something I say to our sellers at Lenovo, a lot of the channel partners that I speak to and do trainings for, because of where we are right now with AI and what does that mean? I feel like it's such a broad buzzword, but for AI PCs and the confusion of the customer side, but even the resellers of you're hearing it from everyone. It's kind of an arms race on who can explain what AI PC is first in the best way that makes it easy to comprehend for
That
customers.
just magically happens to all coalesce around their particular solution.
Yes, yes, right. So I know, of course, with Intel, it's an enormous partnership of ours, launching the Lunar Lake processors and some of our newest products, the ones that everyone knows and loves from ThinkPad, like the T series or X1 series, but also our new addition to the family, the ThinkPad X9, which is the 14 and 15-inch option that we launched exclusively with Intel Lunar Lake processors. So really having a great sleek and modern design, but having that incredible performance and efficiency from Lunar Lake. I have the privilege of using one myself, so it helps when I'm talking to customers and resellers about the value prop behind it, given that it's the device that I drive with every day. So some of this, I think, is getting the devices in people's hands to experience it for themselves, because there's a lot of concern of like, well, what actually is this? How is this going to benefit me?
Right. So you bring up an interesting point. Lunar Lake processors is our next generation of CPU.
Mm-hmm.
And what this processor has is a dedicated chip specifically for AI processing. For those of you dinosaurs in the channel who've been around as long as I have, you might remember back in the day we had something called a math coprocessor. We used to sell this thing separately to run math, complex math. It was an Excel spreadsheet, but whatever. I mean, it was, and that math coprocessor was dedicated to floating point arithmetic. Well, take that same concept and apply it to AI. So within the chip itself, within the Lunar Lake processor, you have your regular CPU that you all know and love and have been using forever. It has a GPU, which does vector processing, right? Graphics. And then finally, there's this thing called an NPU, or neural processing unit. And that neural processing unit is new and is really optimized for low power consumption, high efficiency AI processing. So can you run an AI application on a regular CPU? Sure. But it's going to come at the expense of the CPU performance, which in turn means lower battery life, which in turn means lower overall performance. Whereas if you run it on a CPU like Lunar Lake that has this neural processing unit in it, it'll offload those AI tasks to that NPU, which in turn means your system runs better, you have better battery life, better overall performance. Does that make sense?
Incredible battery life. Really incredible battery life. That's been
You're liking it.
Yeah, my user experience is I'm very much not a technical user. Well, I'll use performance heavy applications. You'd
Sure.
argue that Teams or PowerPoint or Chrome,
Right.
any of those things are going to tax your processing power. But I get through the full workday without having to plug my PC in with various Teams calls and presentations and things that are going to tax the processing unit. And that alone, for me, and even for some customers, battery life is a big.
That's the value prop right there.
Yeah. So I mean, my experience on this X9 14 has been exceptional.
And that's today, right?
Yeah,
so it's
right.
enhancing your performance right now with your current workloads. And when I talk to customers about AI, it really comes down to, ignoring the golf clubs and the toothbrushes for a moment, it comes down to sort of two vectors of performance. The first is the here and now. And Alli, you're describing it perfectly. There are applications for Microsoft, Copilot, so forth, that enhance your existing products, right? That make your existing workflow better. Word, Excel, you can ask Copilot to do things for you.
Yes.
And that level of AI helps with the here and now. Where AI really kicks into its own is where you're working with your own data, your corporate data, your enterprise data, to make better decisions about how you go to market. And this is where, for our channel partners, this is where there's a real opportunity for consultancy to help their customers walk down that path. I'll give you an example from Intel. As you know, we're in the manufacturing business. We build CPUs. They're probably the most complicated product ever known to man. There's literally billions of transistors in something the size of your fingernail, and we sell them for $250. I mean, it's insane. Now, every once in a while, something goes wrong during the manufacturing process. Temperature changes, the chemical changes, the humidity in the environment can change, and suddenly you start getting incursions, because we're talking about nanometers of precision for these transistors. And over the past 40 years, we have built up a library of issues, incursions, things that can go wrong. And along with that is electron micrographs that show examples of what that flaw or incursion can look like. What we've done is put an AI natural language interface to that 30 years of trouble ticket history So a technician can walk up to their Lenovo PC that has all of this history in it and ask it questions. You know,
Hmm.
we're seeing these anomalies. How do you suggest we address that? And it'll go through its 30 years of history, find corresponding results, and show examples of, does it look like this? Does it look like that? So that we can correct and get the production back online as quickly as possible. Now, I mentioned that specifically because A, it's a natural language interface. You don't need to know computerese. And
Hmm.
two, you want to run that locally. You
Right.
don't want that running in the
In
cloud.
the cloud. Right.
You don't want the potential of a competitor finding that information proprietary proprietary to our manufacturing. You want to run it locally, and those images are massive, so latency and those kind of issues fall into place. I mention that because I want to differentiate that as a customized solution based on our unique data set that you want to run right at the edge for performance, for security, for a variety of reasons. And to me, that's that's the next iteration of AI. That's where AI really comes into its own. It allows companies like ours to make better decisions about our environment.
I agree. I think that's a great example because it leads to back to like, well, what's the here and now? So what is kind of the value prop or why are we calling these even Copilot Plus PCs or a certified Copilot Plus PC? You know, Microsoft has a lot of offerings this year as it pertains to all things Copilot. And there's
Mm-hmm.
questions around, you know, we want to use this AI because we want people to be more efficient and be more productive, but there's major security concern. And something I say to customers and partners is you can bet your bottom dollar you've got users in your environment taking company information, not necessarily for any vengeful reason, but
Right.
putting it into a free cloud-based GPT to try to streamline either email responses, help make PowerPoints. And this is a major point of concern for a lot of our customers, which I think is valid. So, if we're
Mm.
thinking about the here and now and what's available and why you need a device with an NPU, that neural processing unit, like what Lunar Lake provides, it allows you to have a more robust experience with things like Copilot to leverage local AI to keep
Mm.
things safe and local on that PC versus launching it into the cloud sphere for, like you said, competitors to potentially find because you're feeding that chat bot
Beast.
more
Right.
information, right? So, you know, having that availability now as we continue to grow and see what these applications that will continue to hit that NPU will look like, there's a huge advantage to have that localized cloud opportunity for now, which I do think is something that's worth reiterating. It's like, well, what's on device versus the cloud experience, and so on. I think security is going to be a big reason as to why people choose to go or not go with these AI PCs. The education around,
And then what is it you can do today, as
yeah,
you said, with the suite of applications you have? And then looking at your data, what can we craft
yeah, right,
that'll build a better outcome that becomes a line of business or an adjunct to your line of business? So those are all monetizable activities that you can have as a reseller with your customers
absolutely, and
doing that assessment.
be that advisor, right? That's the
Right.
position we all want to be in, is have a customer come to us and ask those questions and ask our professional opinion.
And that differentiates you as a channel partner from the big box store that your customer might walk
Yeah,
into when they
yeah,
look to
that's
buy a
exactly
PC
right.
too.
That's exactly right. And I mean, I couldn't be on here and at least not talk about our ThinkPads at least a little bit, given
Oh, please.
what my role is. And I think especially I'm on here with Intel. I've been running this X9 14 for the last several months. We launched this back in January at CES, that Consumer Electronics Show, and that happens in Vegas every year. And it has come out with great fanfare. So this is our newest addition to the ThinkPad family. Some highlights, as we have mentioned, it's running on Intel Lunar Lake processors only, both vPro and non-vPro, depending on your flavor of choice. But some notable things about this: it's our thinnest ThinkPad. It does not have a track point, so that red button that everyone has come to know about ThinkPad is not an option on the X914. So great for any of the users out there that don't have loyalties to ThinkPad. They don't know what the track point is. They know it's this red thing in the center of their keyboard, but they don't leverage that. And because we did that, we also changed up what the trackpad traditionally is. Now you have this enormous haptic force pad that allows for a little extra landscape to be able to navigate around your PC. Also OLED displays, touch and non-touch, so only OLED. So really premium look and feel and design behind this, with the power and the ThinkPad reliability that customers have come to know and depend on. So when you're having these edge type conversations with customers around what the future of AI PC looks like in their environment, what better way to introduce, this Intel power and technology than with the newest ThinkPad that we all created in a workshop together. So some really exciting things coming down the pipe from a ThinkPad perspective because of this AI transition we're all experiencing, for better or for worse, but exciting nonetheless.
We're all strapped to this rocket, and away we go.
That's certainly
You talked about collaboration with Microsoft, and for us, we have been working on enhancing security collaboratively with the industry for as long as Intel's been around.
Mm-hmm.
One of the cornerstones of our security envelope is vPro, and you mentioned it briefly with the X1 Carbon and Lenovo product line. vPro this year is going through a fairly seismic reimagining, in that we are now going to be doing activations with our channel partners online.
Oh.
Now that's kind of neat. We have this thing is called Intel Fleet Management Services.
Yes. Yep.
And Intel Fleet Management Services allows for edge activation. Now we'll still have Emma, and that's still the preeminent way for enterprise and large customers to deploy vPro. But for the SMB market, which here in Canada is a big part of our marketplace, Intel Fleet Services is going to be a great way to get systems up and running. And vPro has got so much more attention since we had that Blue Screen Friday, back 6-9 months ago, when CrowdStrike went south and all these systems suddenly became inoperable, and you had to either dispatch someone locally or somehow manage to breathe life back into these things. Well, customers that had vPro deployed were able to remotely administer, manage, and get up and running in record time. Yeah. There's an airline that you might be familiar with, that shall not be named in America.
Yeah.
That had, subtle as a brick, had vPro deployed, and they were up and running literally in hours. They could download the patch, remotely administer these systems. Everyone else had to send someone right to the systems to patch them up. It was amazing. So globally, they were up and running in no time at all. vPro is one of those things that everyone's heard of, but nobody can describe. It's amazing. Yeah. When I'm with a bunch of resellers, I'll ask them, how many of you have heard of it? No, all the hands go up. And then I'll ask resellers, how many of you can tell me what it does? And all the hands go down. But out-of-band management, like we saw with that blue screen of death, is a great example, a real-world example, where even though the system itself is not running, vPro operates at a hardware level to allow you to remotely control and administer that asset for your customer. So if you're not using it, please take the time to learn about vPro. And Lenovo has been amazing at promoting vPro to the channel, using it as a benchmark, watermark for enterprise systems.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly important to educate, of course, our resellers and our customers around what they're really getting in these boxes, because it's more than just the screen and the keyboard. And I think the theme, Devlin, of like what you and I have been talking about, of course, with AI, is around like, what is the best way to keep your people working and productive and efficient, and how can these devices help to provide all of that? So if it's the manageability and security that vPro offers, since so many people are working remote and crazy things can happen, to even leveraging AI to just write emails for you, create these PowerPoints for you, and not have confidential company information launched into the
summarize all those conference calls that we're on.
Yeah. The ones that I'm sure I was paying very close attention to
Attention
at
to.
all times and not multitasking. Yeah. Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, there's so much that we have to offer. The first question you asked me, and then, we went and talked about everything was, Lenovo's positioning on the channel, and we are very much a channel first company. We always have been. In a previous life, I come from the channel working with Lenovo as a funded head many
Same.
moons ago. So it seemed great. And I think having that perspective and then coming here as a fully badged employee really shows that we're walking the walk and talking the talk on being channel first. And we cannot do this without these incredible partnerships with our resellers and our partners. And having, the alliance partnerships with Intel, for example, to really be able to bring the best solutions to our customers via the channel is our mission. So one thing to remember is Lenovo is going to be and remain a channel first organization.
Alli, what for your channel partners, what is their go-to resource for learning more about what Lenovo's doing with AI or with
Oh.
vPro?
That is a very good question. So I know that there's a number of different channel-based websites that are enabled. The one that comes to mind, because I am a product manager, so that is the world I live in, is the Lenovo Solution Center, or Lenovo SCE. That's a great website to go to that gives you all of the very detailed information on what products we have available, the data sheets, the tech specs, everything. PSRef is another very famous website that was even around when I was working in the channel forever ago, which is a public source to really even let customers on their own do some exploration around what our products provide. But we have more information and enablement than any channel partner could ever dream of in our various different forums. And of course, the Lenovo channel team is there to support and assist too if there's any training or enablement or things that you all need to help, better talk to your customers around Lenovo solutions.
I'll give a shameless plug for Ingram, who are fantastic to work with.
Yes.
They sponsor a competition, the Lenovo Tech Tour, where the highest growth reseller, so it's literally open to any SMB customer, the highest growth customers get to go down to Raleigh and experience what it is to be at Lenovo's head office.
Yes.
Consistently bring out some of the best speakers I've ever seen. They unfortunately have to listen to me for a couple of hours.
Ah,
And we take everyone out to the barn for dinner
Angus
one
barn,
night.
baby. Yes.
Can't miss that. So if you want more details, please ask your Ingram account manager about the Lenovo Tech Tour competition,
Yes.
and sell more to win. And look
Yeah.
forward to seeing you in Raleigh.
Sounds great. This was great. Thank you so much. Any other topics,
My
things
pleasure.
we feel like they need to know?
No, I mean, Intel has its Intel Partner Alliance, the IPA, where you as a reseller can accrue points. So all the Lenovo systems that you buy from Ingram that have Intel DNA in it, whether it's a CPU or the rest of it, just in the background, they send us all of your sales out information. So we basically give you points for all of your Intel content. Obviously, you get more for Lunar Lake than you would get for previous gen. You get more for an i9 than you do for an i7. And it's not Maserati money. It's not going to buy you a Lamborghini, but when you aggregate it with the programs that Lenovo runs and Microsoft runs, it could make the difference between winning that bid for your local school board or not. So
Yeah, this was great. I mean, I think any AI related conversation people could wax poetic about. But I mean, I think we did a good job of summarizing it for everybody who's listening.